Hi, it's Mike here from the Heavy Chef Project. This month we're talking about augmented reality, of which there's a lot of hype and a lot of talk around the subject matter at the moment. So we've actually come to Saatchi at Play to talk to one of their techie experts, Al, just to see if there's any substance to this and that it's not a gimmick. So before we start, Al, do you want to just explain to us augmented reality? What is it? What is it?
Okay, so very simply, it's just really merging the two worlds of reality and, of course, the digital space, and then how we deliver content, between those two platforms.
Okay.
Quite simply, yeah.
So, at the moment, our interaction with digital, non-augmented reality, would just be obviously what we see on the screen there, very flat, 2D. And this is more interaction than that?
Absolutely. What it allows the user at the end of the day to do is to view a 3D model or a piece of digital content by physically manipulating it in the real world. So having an animation that you could turn, zoom in, play around with, without having to physically interact with the PC via mouse or keyboard.
Okay, I think I've seen something like that. I've seen where they take you can go get a gladiator helmet, and then I think it marks your face, and then you can move around in the gladiator. But how can that be applied specifically? I would say in a marketing context. Is it just a gimmick, or are there ways in which it can be applied? I know you guys have worked on some projects.
Yeah, I think at the moment a lot of the applications that you will see are very gimmicky, and I think it's mainly due to the case that it's still very much in its infancy, and I think particularly in this country. So I think a lot of the things is that you're seeing are people getting their feet wet, with this technology, and I think we'll start to see certainly once the technology matures. How we'll be able to apply that in far more kind of meaningful ways.
Okay. You've recently done a project for Wordsworth books using that. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the concept around that project?
The idea for Wordsworth was to kind of bring the written word to life. So we took a page from a book, and then the line we've used is live the story with Wordsworth. And what we did was we took a page from a book, which will tell you a story. From a novel, and then built into that page was the marker that would then activate the augmented reality piece.
Okay.
So we literally took the page, the written page, and then animated that and brought that to life, so people could physically see what was happening on the page.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so from a simplistic technical perspective, is all you need a webcam really and a bit of software, or is it quite hardcore sort of programming?
I suppose at the end of the day, what the usability piece seems pretty simple. You have a piece of digital content which we create, obviously, and then you have a marker, and the marker is the pivotal piece for the user's interaction. They'll have to print that out. Let's say, so we'll make it available via a handout or whatever we.
So the marker's the thing that the interaction happens with. So there needs to be something that the computer can recognise and then react to.
So the software has an image recognition, image recognition software built into it. And what it does is it picks up a particular type of image, which is programmed into it. So when the webcam sees that image, the software then picks up that that's the image that we're calling, and then activate the content accordingly.
And what was the reaction of the people in the streets when they were interacting with this? Is it like, whoa, this is a little bit scary for me?
Very much. I think that a lot of people are quite blown away by it. They're not quite sure. You'll see them trying to understand it, first, and wow, what is this doing? This is incredible. Before they really, I suppose, understand the concept that you're showing them.
Yeah. Because
their initial reaction is, wow, before they will really see
what they're engaging with, what the message is that you're trying to get across.
And then once they've become accustomed to it, then you really start to see the interaction happening.
Did you find that there was a difference between, in terms of that interaction and the reaction, between any sort of age groups? Do you find that the youngsters are more like, oh, okay, this is quite cool? And
when we had it out there, I think it was really quite diverse.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the younger crowd will gravitate to it easier. but certainly if you look at the reactions, I think it was pretty standard across the board. You know, there was a great interest in it, and certainly driving guys into the store was really quite fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you think there's definitely a future for this? Because I say it's very much in its infancy.
I think there's going to be a huge future. If you look at where the technology is going, what they're starting to do now, the scope is phenomenal. I think, you know, what we're dealing with at the moment is marker-generated stuff, which it reads. Obviously, there is already facial recognition software that's starting to pull content based on just recognizing
characteristics
of your face and characteristics. Yeah. And I think that's where the real interesting things are going to start to happen.
Wow, fantastic. All exciting stuff.
Very, very
brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Al.
Awesome.
Really appreciate it. And hopefully that's informed you a little bit more about augmented reality and maybe the ways in which it can be used. It's not just a gimmick. Cheers.
How do you get consumers to choose your client's bookstore and not the competitors? Show them how your books come to life. We handed out book pages to shoppers and asked them to hold them up to a webcam. And voila! The words on the page came to life in spectacular 3D fashion, proving that with Wordsworth Books, you live the story.